First, I was concerned that it was just going to be basically so taxing to my nervous system that I thought, oh my God, do I want to put myself through this? I knew that it was not for the faint at heart. Obviously, the show is an amazing platform for every project you have going on. Maybe things that, like for me in my career that I've been doing that people didn't know about. It's, this shines a big light on everything. But ultimately, the charity aspect, I think, is the backbone of the show. And if you are going to get up on very little sleep and run around and basically achieve the nearly impossible in 24-hour periods of time, it is amazing that there is that as the backbone to the show, because millions have been raised for charity every season, and being a part of that and watching that unfold was incredible.
My situation was kind of twofold. I've always wanted to do the show. I was a fan of the show, but I live in L.A., and I'm a single dad. Didn't think I could leave my home for 2 months at a time. I just didn't think it was possible. And my son's 12 now, and it just happens to be the 20th anniversary of the Magic Johnson Foundation, which you know, for obvious reasons, I've been a part of for a long time. So it just seemed like this was the year, and all things were pointing to the fact that this was the time for me to help the organization. It was the perfect time to leave for 2 months, even though that never works like you wanted to. And I'm glad I did. It was probably the best show business experience I've ever had, other than the Wayne Brady daytime talk show.
I think, people were very hard on Diana. She is a beauty queen. People assume that beauty queens can't be creative and resourceful and smart, and I found myself sticking up for her quite often, actually. Yeah. I thought they were extra hard on her.
Well, I had a problem with everybody. I had a problem with Victoria Gotti. I'm happy to be alive today. And Lisa was really on Miss Universe. Lisa was our meatloaf of this season.
Right. Lisa was brutal. And Lisa surprised me because she's much more emotional than I thought she'd be. Not just in terms of tough. She turned out to be much more emotional.
I never imagined that she would cry, and her and Lou Ferrigno cried every hour.
Yeah, Lou was another one. Lou's a great character, actually, but a very emotional person.
Don't make him mad.
Yeah.
You know what I think they did? I think they made it more task and work-oriented versus fundraising-oriented, because I felt like the one with the richest friends wasn't necessarily going to succeed this year. They made it a little more complicated than making a phone call. They made it almost imperative that you live or die with hard work and long hours. And that's how it felt to me. Getting as far outside of an entertainer's wheelhouse is what does it. And you got to admit, most people who are famous or relatively successful, they probably don't do manual labor. They don't really work hard. Hard work is, I was in the trailer waiting for more than an hour. That's hard work, right? So it's when Clay Aiken screams at somebody and says, I said clean those bugs out of that pot now. It's like, that's when the show gets hard. Because first of all, a person who makes all the decisions in their life and no one tells them what to do is being told not only what to do, but to do some nasty manual labor. And it seems like the really tough things of that nature combined made the hardest, most interesting television moments also, by the way.
I mean, I had that thought in terms of like being a performer and being a pop singer and all of that. I thought to myself, well, being seen in a group of people and in this context, how will that feed what I do, what I love to do, which is to be on stage. And you really have to come around to the fact that we do live in a different world now, and this kind of visibility, I think, is really, I think, unless I really was going to go and make an idiot of myself, I thought it's only going to enhance everything else I'm doing. So I did go through that concern, and actually even had a conversation with Cyndi Lauper's manager, and she said, where houses were half sold, they went to sold out. It's just the visibility factor really is amazing with this show. But I did have that concern in the beginning.